So I did read in your interview, you said that you don't think there's a chance that you'll ever use again. You know, most people say that, but unfortunately you have to be prepared, right? For that something does happen. You said yourself, you're purposely avoiding your support so that you could go and get high.
And tell me you're not ready to be paroled without telling me that you're not ready to get paroled. We are about to see the parole hearing of a woman who has had struggles with substance abuse for years, and she continued to get slap on the wrist after slap on the wrist till eventually a judge said, you know what, we're going to lock you up.
My name is Amanda Fitzgerald, 373325.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Amanda Fitzgerald, inmate number 37325. She is serving a sentence of 7 years, suspended after 42 months with 3 years probation for assault third, possession of a controlled substance, and sales of hallucinogens and narcotics. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of January 1st, 2024. There is no victim input in the case. There is an offender accountability plan. It has been reviewed and shows that the offender is completed beyond violence in Tier 4. She is also currently participating in the Defensive Aftercare Program. Utilizing the Women's Risk Needs Assessment Warrant, the offender's overall score for recidivating falls within the medium range. This is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Well, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come before you. I feel I utilized my time wisely. I understand what I was doing was wrong. It's not only wrong, but it's embarrassing and disgusting. And, I'm ashamed of and embarrassed of, the things I did. That's not who I am now. I've taken this time to really figure out what was wrong. And, the things I did could have ended up really bad. I thank God that, it ended up just me being incarcerated instead of really hurting somebody. I know the severeness of my actions, and, I just want to apologize to the community for the choices I made.
Okay, thank you for your statement. We do have questions for you. When we're done with our questions, we'll deliberate and give you our decision here today. And we'll begin with my colleague, Mr. Dargan.
Good morning. Thank you. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
So it looks like the second day that you were incarcerated, you received a ticket, right?
Yes.
And you thought it was dealing with your drug issue and your dependency prior to that?
Well, yeah, my second day in here, I was angry. I was detoxing. I was just a different person. I didn't really care. I was just careless, honestly.
Yeah, so I also read that with your issue of substance abuse, that there was at least 4 occasions where you had an issue with overdose.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess it would be fair to say that your major issue is with your substance abuse, right?
Yes, sir.
And so from the programming out of the tier, what were you able to get out of that program?
Honestly, in the beginning I hated it, but now I love it. It actually helped me change my mindset. I learned how to identify my triggers. I learned how to grieve properly. I learned a lot of different ways to cope. And I just learned it's possible for me to have a good future if I want it. And I actually got a lot out of this program, and I'm thankful that I got the opportunity to be in the program.
So I read about your relapse prevention plan, right? About what you would like to do as far as with CCAR too, right? Can you to talk about that?
Yes, I'm actually enrolled in the academy right now, taking classes for it.
And your release plan is to go to a halfway house in the Hartford area?
Yeah, Hartford or Bridgeport.
Okay, Bridgeport, okay. I always bring that up with individuals where they're looking for a placement, and Bridgeport also has a reentry program where you could go and use a number of resources that are available to you there. As far as maybe for employment, housing, education, healthcare, a number of issues. So it's a pretty good resource that I think that you should avail yourself of.
Yes.
So how do you move forward so you don't relapse again?
Okay, so I have been looking into CCAR, and I've learned a lot more resources, and I really kind of want to help women and individuals that were like myself who struggled a lot with their life, and I truly believe as long as I stay in meetings and stay involved with CCAR, and just stay around like positive people and positive influences, and maintain resources, that I will have a positive outcome.
And you have one child, is that correct?
Yes, he's 11.
And how is that relationship with your child?
Oh, he's my best friend. We talk almost every day. We write back and forth.
Okay. So what other social support do you have in the community when you are released? Because it looked like before you were living all over the place from what you said.
Yes. Well, I was doing the wrong thing. So honestly, I wasn't around my real friends or like my family because I didn't want them to see me the way I was. I was ashamed of myself. So I got my father, my brother, and just my positive friends that I grew up with that are not involved in any illegal activity or do drugs whatsoever.
And it looked like your father was your main financial support.
Yes.
Prior to incarcerated. And do you have any leads for employment? Because it looked like that you weren't working prior to 2 years.
Yeah, so I've been talking to the I think it's the captain here, and I'm trying to get the job at Pursuits. That I could continue the employment when I get out of here. I think they're just waiting on the parole to see if I got accepted or not. Because if I don't get accepted, I have to wait 6 months to reapply. But they said I'm next on the furlough list to get that job.
So as far as for additional treatment when you are released, do you have any game plan in mind? What type of programming that you think would be beneficial to you?
Honestly, I think anyone will be beneficial. Maybe like meetings or like maybe like MCCA or like IOP or something. I'm not really sure about that yet. I know CCAR said they do everything there, so.
And so your drug of choice was fentanyl and heroin at that time?
Yes.
And I read that you were using because of coping because of the passing of your mom and sister. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So again, going back to Tier 4, was there some coping skills that you were able to get out of that program and how to deal with issues when you are released?
Yes, that's one of the main things I learned was how to cope with my grief and how to like identify like my triggers and different resources so I don't end up relapsing, and I know how to handle everything differently.
Okay. Well, thank you for having a conversation with me this morning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Gerald. So I did read in your interview, you said that you don't think there's a chance that you'll ever use again. most people say that, but unfortunately, you have to be prepared, right? For
Yeah,
that something does happen. You said yourself, you're purposely avoiding your support so that you could go and get high. And right now, you're in a very structured environment with a ton of support and not a lot of opportunity to use drugs. We understand they're there, but
hmm
so you mentioned CCAR and doing the academy, but that academy is for you to become a coach, correct?
yes.
You have a coach for yourself, for your own support.
Yeah, well, they coach us here too, as well as I'm in the academy.
Right. Okay, so are you working one-on-one with a recovery coach?
Yeah, well, she comes in the facility and she talks to like everybody one-on-one, but I don't just like go and sit and have my one-on-one. I have my counselor for that.
Okay, so how does that translate to the community?
Well,
coach. Recovery coach for yourself.
well, she said, because I've asked about this, that almost all the recovery coaches have their own coach that they like, sit and talk to and stuff, and
Okay. Okay. Have you done NA meetings at all in the past?
Yeah, in the Tier 4 program, we have to do 3 meetings a week, and then I completed 4 long groups, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and newcomers. And then every single week we go to 3 different meetings: CODA, Women for Sobriety, and NA.
Okay, I was referring to the community though. Have you been involved in the community? Before coming into prison, were you involved in all?
Oh, no.
No, okay. You have the highest drug score, so, and you're lucky to be alive. I hope you realize that.
Oh, I
With
know,
the-
yes.
That you were using, so it's gonna be a struggle, and your recovery really does have to come first in your life. The drugs you had, you say you were using and not selling them?
No, yeah, I was using them, and I would sell them once in a while. Like occasionally, yes, I did.
Okay, well, that makes more sense because you wouldn't need scales to use drugs, right?
Yeah.
The victim of your assault 3, was that your boyfriend? Is he your husband, boyfriend? What is he?
Well, I'm just filed for divorce, so he's my husband currently, but soon to be ex-husband.
Okay, so the plan is for you not to be together?
Oh, no, I haven't spoke to him since this happened.
Okay.
I have no idea where he even is.
You're aware there's a protective order in place,
Yes,
so you have contact with him?
yes, I don't plan on it.
Okay, all right. Well, you certainly, you've done good programming there. I hope that you do have some valuable skills that you can take with you to the outside. You mentioned a job. Where was that job?
Pursuits, it was called Whitcraft, and now it's Pursuits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're actually setting it up on the facility right now. I just helped paint the walls and stuff for it to be moved here too.
And what would you be doing there?
It's something with machines. I don't know too much about it yet.
So
Like
you
it's
go
like making airplane parts.
Yeah, okay. And where is the job located?
It's in Plainville.
Plainville, and you're asking to go to Harvard?
Yeah, I guess that's where they say we have to go to Hartford because it's the closest to Plainville, and that's where they're putting everybody with a job for Plainville that leave here.
Oh, okay. So how do you get to work? Do they bus you there? Or?
I think I'm not too sure about it. I think they all like they ride in the car together. Like they take turns on paying Uber.
Uber, okay. Do you have a driver's license?
No,
Have you ever had a driver's license?
no,
Are you interested in getting a driver's license?
yes.
Okay. Did you happen to write a set of goals for yourself?
Yeah, that's part of the Tier 4 program. I have a lot of goals actually that I want to accomplish.
Okay, good. Well, I hope that you'll be patient with yourself. I mean, it takes time, right, to accomplish any goals, even small goals. So
Yes,
I certainly do wish you success.
thank you.
All of my questions have been answered, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fitzgerald, give us a few minutes to discuss your case, and you can listen, of course, to our deliberation. We'll get back to you shortly with our decision.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Dargan.
Well, it'd be an understatement not stating she has a problem with substance abuse. taken care for beyond violence. She's in intensive aftercare, participating. We got that one DR. I asked about it first, second day that she was in, that she came in, and probably again might have been with the draw systems. I'm not sure. You know, I mean, she can't score out any higher as far as the substance abuse goes, and I think that, you know, my concern is just with that high substance abuse score, but I haven't granted.
Okay, yeah, I think Ms. Fitzgerald's done everything she could while incarcerated to address her issues with substances. She does appear to have the beginning stages of a plan for when she's released and support in place, possible employment. I'm not sure she's ever taken advantage of treatment, so hopefully she will now and will keep her addiction under control. I would be in support of granting parole as well for the supervision and structure that I think she needs. Ms. Turner?
Yeah. It would be about 1.5 years. And I have real concerns about her mental health issues as well. We didn't touch on that in the questions, but she really needs a plan to manage her mental health needs when she's out in the community, wherever she does settle. So I'm in favor of granting as well.
Okay.
With all.
Time out. Well, we got co-defendants, we have mental health eval, halfway house, domestic violence, and then the victim.
And I have no alcohol because Floyd's on the mental health evaluation for past abuse again. Okay, that's fine.
So is it KBF? The legal name, don't say the name, please. Are the initials KBF?
Pretty sure it still is, yes.
B hyphen F.
KB, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, one's a middle name, so I was like,
Okay.
you know.
The father of the
But
child.
I wasn't sure. The child has been adopted, it's no longer
Yeah.
their child, so. All right, in the matter of Amanda Fitzgerald, I mean, number 373325, I'll make a motion to grant parole effective January 19th, 2024, with the following conditions. You're paroled to a halfway house. You're to have no contact with your co-defendants, Peter Ventier, Kathleen McKinney, or Thomas Collier. No consumption of alcoholic beverages. You'll participate in a mental health evaluation and treatment if it's deemed necessary. You'll also participate in a domestic violence program in the community. It's a continuation of a program that you did inside, and you're to have no contact with your victim, initials KBBF. You know who that is. No contact. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, you'll get all of this in writing, but do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, we wish you the best, and it's effective today, but you know, someone will reach out to you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Have a good day.
On your path, okay, keep working.
I will, thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Amanda Fitzgerald, inmate number 373325. Okay, you're all set. If you could just ask them to send the next person in.
Okay, thank you.
And they granted parole in the parole board's wisdom. You know, it's like, what could go wrong? Clearly, she's going to get out of prison and take advantage of all the programs they have on the outside. I mean, I know she didn't do anything on the inside, but of course, that's what she's going to do. Let's have her under supervision. You know, if there's one thing for certain, as Dr. Grande often says, it's that we will never see Miss Fitzgerald again.
Fitzgerald, right?
Yes, hi.
Hi, so it is 11:42. We cannot start until exactly 11:45, so we'll get going in 3 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So I did read in your interview, you said that you don't think there's a chance that you'll ever use again. You know, most people say that, but unfortunately you have to be prepared, right? For
Yeah.
that something does happen. You said yourself, you're purposely avoiding your support so that you could go and get high. Okay, yeah, I think Ms. Fitzgerald's done everything she could while incarcerated to address her issues with substances.
And I really kind of want to help women and individuals that were like myself who struggled a lot with their life. And I truly believe as long as I stay in meetings and stay involved with CCAR and, you know, just stay around like positive people and positive influences and, you know, maintain resources, that I will have a positive outcome.
So we're now going to review the charges that the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you and the information underlying each charge. So Officer DeJohn, can you please read the charges that you have brought against Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes, ma'am. Charge number 1 is release direction, program participation. You were instructed to participate in the Moving On program and were unsuccessfully discharged on 2/6/25 due to you failing to participate in the program. On 8/1/24, after testing positive for cocaine and fentanyl, you were instructed to attend intensive outpatient treatment and to provide documentation of this to your parole officer. You failed to provide documentation as instructed. Obey all laws. Charge number 2, obedience to the law. On 3/6/25, you were found by New Britain Police to be loitering in the area of Columbus Boulevard in New Britain, Connecticut. You admitted to smoking crack cocaine out of a pipe, and you admitted to throwing the pipe in an attempt to destroy the evidence. You were also found to be in possession of 3 full and 3 broken glass pipes with crack cocaine residue on them. Due to your actions and behaviors, you were charged with the following crimes: tampering with evidence, interfering with an officer, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a controlled substance, and a city ordinance violation, loitering. Charge number 3, drugs. On 8/1/24, you rendered a toxicology screen that tested positive for cocaine and fentanyl. You voluntarily admitted to having used said illegal substances. On 8/16/24, you rendered a positive toxicology screen for cocaine and fentanyl. You signed a voluntary admission form admitting to doing a line of cocaine and smoking a blunt. On 8/24/24, you rendered a toxicology screen that tested positive for cocaine. You denied any illegal drug use. However, the Redwood toxicology results report indicated you were in fact positive for cocaine use. On 9/6/24, you rendered a toxicology screen that tested positive for cocaine, fentanyl, and THC. You voluntarily admitted to having used cocaine. On 3/6, you admitted to New Britain Police that you were smoking crack cocaine out of a pipe, and you admitted to throwing the pipe in an attempt to destroy the evidence. You were also found to be in possession of 3 full and 3 broken glass pipes with crack cocaine residue on them. This is a direct violation of your parole conditions. Charge number 4, halfway house placement. On 9/3/24, you received a work pass from 3:30 p.m. until 12:00 a.m. You did not report to work as scheduled. You signed out of the halfway house at 11:27 a.m. and did not return until 9/4/24 at 2:50 a.m., leaving you unaccountable in the community for approximately 15 hours. This is a violation of the written rules of the halfway house. On 9/6/24, you left the halfway house on a work pass. You did not report to work as scheduled. You were unaccountable, and your whereabouts in the community were entirely unknown during this period of time. This is a direct violation of the written rules of the halfway house. On 12/4/24, you admitted to staff at Silliman Halfway House you engaged in a sexual relationship with another offender admitted to the program. This is a violation of the written rules of the halfway house.
At this time, it is the state's opportunity to make a short statement, call any witnesses, and testify with respect to probable cause and the severity of the allegations. So, Officer DeJohn.
I just have a short thing written up. Ms. Fitzgerald has continued to display criminogenic behavior patterns during this period of her parole. Since May of 24, Ms. Fitzgerald has rendered 3 toxicology screens that tested positive for cocaine, fentanyl, or both. Most recently, she was found to be under the influence of illegal substances, having drug paraphernalia on her, which then led to her eventual arrest. She was offered the opportunity to participate in IOP treatment and then placed in the App Foundation without having completed IOP. She was placed on GPS twice. All of these efforts were made to help Ms. Fitzgerald in her rehabilitation, and she continued to use illegal substances, causing her to reoffend in the community. This is why I recommend Ms. Fitzgerald parole term be revoked and she stay incarcerated until July of 25.
Thank you. Counsel?
Yes, thank you very much. As to charge 1, program participation, regarding the piece that had to do with the AIC Moving On program at Harvard. I would just note that I spoke with my client, and those alleged absences I do not think were intentional, but were due to my client experiencing transportation issues. I believe she was residing out in the Unionville area, which is approximately 30 minutes or so, give or take, of a drive from Hartford, depending on traffic. And I believe that at the time she was also struggling with transportation, which made it difficult for her to get to the sessions there. As a charge to obedience to the law, I did submit the exhibit that indicates she took a plea for one count of possession on 3/6/25, and she just received an unconditional discharge, no time to serve, no additional supervision. As to charge 3 drugs, my client notes that she never admitted to using substances to the police on that 3/6 date. And I will also note that she was not found with any drugs on her person per the police report in Exhibit B. She indicates that the pipes were not used for crack cocaine. They were marijuana pipes, but were not used for illicit substances. And I also will just note that the residue that was allegedly found on those pieces of evidence were never tested per the police report. So it is not confirmed what was on or used for those specific pipes. And then finally, the last charge, halfway house placement. As to the allegation on 12-4 regarding the relationship, I spoke with my client at length about this, and she indicates that this is not accurate. She never had an intimate relationship with the other client in this program. She indicates that they were good friends, but this never surpassed the level of friendship. And in fact, actually a staff member, I believe, from that halfway house did pursue a romantic relationship with the same individual, and they are, I believe, under investigation regarding that incident. I would just argue that this is not a situation where the violations or the proposed violations are serious enough to warrant future incarceration for my client. She got no time to serve in court for the criminal conviction and no additional supervision. So they clearly did not find that this conduct was serious enough to warrant her being incarcerated. I would also argue that as to that charge 2, obedience of the law, an addendum was not submitted within the 14th day of the charges being adjudicated pursuant to section 54-124A sub J 1-7 of the regulations. In fact, 21 days at this point have passed since the disposition in criminal court. So I would ask you to take that into account. This is her first violation. Her parole is up in August 9th to be exact. So I would argue that having her released from the community so she could establish services within the next few months to get the assistance of parole in order to get back on her feet would be very beneficial to her. But overall, I would just argue that this is not serious enough to warrant revocation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further comments before I do announce my findings?
Am I allowed to speak?
Yes, Amanda, if you would like to speak, you certainly can. I will caution you, though, I wouldn't say anything regarding the criminal case or the charges themselves. But if you have something additional that you want to say, that's fine to put it on the record at this point.
I just wanted to say, like, I was doing good, with my CCAR recovery coach academy. Even here, my teacher for CCAR is encouraging me to want to get back in the community to become a recovery coach and wants me to be assistant for a recovery coach. With reentry, Robin Ledbetter, I'm still engaging with her. So, I kind of need the assistance with her.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do appreciate your statement. I'm still gonna just take one moment and I'll let you know my findings.
Can I say something else or no?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say in regards to the drug charges, you had said that it wasn't a pipe for crack cocaine smoking, but they did take those substances back to the lab in the police report and they tested them and it tested positive for crack cocaine.
The pipes did?
Yep, it says on page 3, it says they were transported to New Britain PD. The officer held a field test on the suspected crack cocaine and showed preemptive results for cocaine. The crack cocaine was found to have an aggravated weight of 3.2 grams.
But that is those are the alleged drugs that were seized from my client's co-defendant. My argument was that the alleged things that were seized from her, the actual pipes themselves, the pipes were not tested. But the drugs that were found on the co-defendant certainly were. That's not in dispute.
Okay.
So for charge number one, the condition of program participation. I'm actually making a no finding of probable cause based on the information reviewed for this preliminary hearing, as I feel that the state has failed to submit sufficient evidence in support of the charge and the elements were not met. On charge number two, condition of obedience to the law, I am making a finding. I'm going to use exhibit 1 from the defense, as Ms. Fitzgerald was convicted and sentenced to unconditional discharge on 3/7/25 for possession of controlled substance. In addition, the state submitted the following evidence that supports the charge, exhibit A, C, and D. For charge number 3, the condition of drugs, I identified this as 5 separate parts. So for part 1, I'm making a partial finding. So for charge number 5, part 1 dated 8/1/24 and part 3 dated 8/24/24 and part 4 dated 9/6/24. And lastly, part 5 dated 3/6/25. I'm making a finding of probable cause based on state's exhibits A, C, G, H, I, and L. For part 2 dated 8/16/2024, I'm making a no finding of probable cause. Again, as I feel the state failed to submit sufficient evidence in support of the charge. Same thing for halfway house. I have identified this charge as 4 separate parts. So for part 1 dated 9/3/2024, I'm making a finding of probable cause based on state's exhibits A, C, G, and J. For part 2 dated 9/6/24 and part 3 dated 12/4/2024, I'm making a no finding of probable cause based on the information reviewed for this hearing today, as I feel that the elements were not met based on the evidence submitted. So with that, although I am making findings, I'm also making the determination that the acts are serious enough to warrant revocation. So I am making the finding of the facts and that they are serious, but I'm also finding that you can be released back. No, I did the wrong one. I am sorry. I am all over the place. I need 1 second. Sorry, and counsel, you mentioned that she's done with parole in August.
Yes, 8/6/25 is her max date.
She's on.
Or sorry, 8/9/25. Yes.
Okay, so I am finding that the acts are serious enough, and I'm also finding that they're serious enough to warrant revocation. So with that, I've determined that you should be detained while you await your revocation hearing. So the records office at the facility will be notified of that, and the parole officer is now notified of that. So we will try to get your revocation scheduled sooner than later, since those charges were disclosed, but we do need information from the fields. I'm not sure how that works with them not submitting it. I'll go over it with Ruth at this point. And then we will try to schedule that revocation hearing, like I said, sooner rather than later.
All right, so Amanda, it should be approximately, I will submit that information today and ask for the addendum to be submitted. So hopefully within 30 to 60 days, we'll get scheduled, okay? And I'll set up another call with you, and my social worker will be reaching out to you before the secondary hearing, okay?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Preliminary hearing for Amanda Fitzgerald, inmate number 3733852. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
We're going to fast forward to May 5th of 2025 to see this revocation hearing. And really, it's just the whole thing is a big joke. Can you imagine sitting there with a straight face and arguing, oh, that Pepsi pipe I had, it was for the devil's lettuce, not for the Pepsi. Of course. Oh, I want to get out there so I can become a recovery coach. She still is talking about becoming a recovery coach. Meanwhile, she is the incomplete inability to stay. So the whole thing is a joke. And yet it's happening time and time again. And it's on the taxpayer dollar. They get attorneys, they get everything they have. And as you can see, it's hard to get revoked. I mean, I don't know exactly the first day that she offended, but as you hear it, it's just this long stretch until it finally gets to the point where her parole officer is like, you know what, I'm just done. You're done. We're done. We have to revoke you. And this is the difference between Connecticut and Louisiana. Louisiana, it's like any criminal activity, you're done. In Connecticut, it's like any criminal activity and don't worry about it. Nothing will happen. 10 more times, don't worry about it. Here's your private attorney. Let's go. And then the interviewer didn't even find guilty in all findings. Anyways, whatever. Let's go see this May 5th hearing.
Good morning. It is 9:20 a.m. on May 5th, 2025. The hearing at York Correctional Institution is delayed. Oh, sorry to John. Thank you for coming in. So it's delayed. They're having technical difficulties. We're going to try to get her on before 9:30, but it's pushing it at this point if they're able to connect. Otherwise, we're going to hear the York hearing at 11:30. Yeah. Yeah. So you can email me.
All right, just let me know. Do you want me to hang out until 9:30 and then?
Yeah, because by then we'll know for sure we're gonna move on and we'll take it from there, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, okay, go ahead. All right, since you're here, we're gonna just keep moving with it. Officer DeJohn, are you ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. All right, good morning. I'm Parole Officer Trisell, and I'm a hearing examiner for the Board of Pardons and Paroles. This is a revocation hearing concerning Amanda Fitzgerald, inmate number 3733225. Today is Monday, May 5th, 2025, and this hearing is being conducted via video at the Board of Pardons and Paroles Central Office in your correctional institution. So we're going to review the charges now that the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you and the underlying information of each charge. But before we start, I do want to note that on the record that a no finding was made at the preliminary hearing for charge number 1, the condition of program participation, and charge number 3, the condition of drugs, part 2, that's dated 8/16/2024, and charge number 4, halfway house placement, part 2, dated 9/6/2024, and part 3, dated 12/4/2024. And no additional evidence has been submitted on those charges, so they have not been taken into consideration at today's proceedings, so we can skip them. So Officer John, can you please start with charge number 2, obedience to the law?
Okay, I'm gonna try and remember which ones you said to skip.
Yeah, I'll stop you because I don't even know how to have them marked on
thank
mine.
you.
So yeah, I'll stop you.
Okay, all right. Release direction, charge 1 is program participation. You were instructed.
Yeah, skip that. You can skip that one.
Skip that one. Okay.
Yep,
On
start
8/1/20. On 8/1/24, I start.
Nope. Charge number 2, obedience to the law.
My apologies. Okay. Obedience to the law, charge number 2 on 3/6/25. You were found by New Britain police to be loitering in the area of Columbus Boulevard in New Britain, Connecticut. You admitted to smoking crack cocaine out of a pipe, and you admitted to throwing the pipe in an attempt to destroy the evidence. You were also found to be in possession of 3 full and 3 broken glass pipes with crack cocaine residue on them. Due to your actions and behaviors, you were charged with the following crimes: tampering with evidence, interfering with an officer, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a controlled substance, and city ordinance violation / loitering. On 8/1/24, you rendered a toxicology screen that tested positive for cocaine and fentanyl. You voluntarily admitted to having used said substances.
You can skip to 8/24 on this one. 8/24/24.
Hey, it's not the morning for technical stuff, apparently.
Really not. No, but you're great with it. I'm so impressed, honestly.
Okay, so for charge 4, are any of the halfway house conditions to be read or no?
No, we didn't hear anything in charge 3. We heard the first one. So can you read 8, starting at 8/24/24?
Oh, sure can. Okay. On 8/24/24, you rendered a toxicology screen that tested positive for cocaine use. You denied any illegal drug use. However, the Redwood toxicology results report indicated you were in fact positive for cocaine use. Hold on, my screen. 9/6/24, you rendered a toxicology screen that tested positive for cocaine, fentanyl, and THC use. You voluntarily admitted to having used cocaine. On 3/6/25, you admitted to New Britain police that you were smoking crack cocaine out of a pipe, and you admitted to throwing the pipe in an attempt to destroy the evidence. You were also found to be in possession of 3 full and 3 broken glass pipes with crack cocaine residue on them. This is a direct violation of your parole conditions.
Thank you. And yes, for charge number 4, it is just the first one dated September 3rd, 24. If you can read that, please.
For charge 4, halfway house placement on 9/3/24, you received a work pass from 3:30 until 12 a.m. You did not report to work as scheduled. You signed out of the halfway house at 11:27 a.m. and did not return until 9/4/24 to 2:50 a.m., leaving you unaccountable in the community for approximately 15 hours. This is a violation of the written rules of the halfway house.
Thank you. And the evidence submitted by the state was already identified at the preliminary hearing, and that all remains the same. The state did file an addendum to the parole violation report on April 7, 2025. Officer DeJohn, can you please read the addendum you submitted?
Oh boy.
It's okay. I can do it if you don't have access.
Yeah, I did. I saved the PDF. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I can do it. So it states that Ms. Fitzgerald appeared in New Britain court on 3/7/2025 and was convicted of possession of a controlled substance and sentenced to unconditional discharge, and that all of her other pending charges were nollied. So, counsel, did you and your client receive the notice of parole violation, the parole violation report, and all the other documents that have been identified?
Yes.
Great. We also did receive an exhibit from the defense. I'm identifying as exhibit 2, a list of parole accomplishments and future plans for parole reinstatement. Counsel, do you need any other time to submit other evidence?
We do not. Thank you.
So we do not have any witnesses today. So it is the state's opportunity now to call any witnesses, present evidence, and speak to the evidence submitted. So, Officer DeJohn, do you have any comments towards the charges?
Yeah, I just have one quick little thing. I mean, listen, Amanda has had a long criminal history of violating probation, failing to appear in court, and some misdemeanor assaults. She's remained in and out of prison since 2010, on and off. She has continued to display criminogenic behaviors as well as continued to use illegal substances during this most recent course of her parole term. I just believe it would benefit her to remain incarcerated until her end of sentence date, maybe take a program in there, and then come back out and have a fresh start.
Thank you. Counsel, is that your opportunity?
Yes, as to the charges, charge 2, obedience to the law, no comments. I just want to note the addendum is accurate. My client pleaded on 3/6 to that misdemeanor charge of the UCD, but no time to serve or additional supervision was ordered. As to charge 3, my client just wanted me to note for the record that she did not, it says in the police report that she admitted to the police that she had used illicit substances. She wants me to note that she never admitted to the police using those substances on that date. And I will also note that there weren't any drugs actually found on my client. Her co-defendant is alleged to have had substances on him. However, I acknowledge this doesn't change the conviction that she took, but I just wanted to note that for the record. And no comments as to charge 4. At the appropriate time, I would just like to remark on her background history. Thank you.
Any additional comments at this point before I do announce my findings? Sir John? That's good.
Yeah, thank you.
Just gonna take a moment and I will announce them. So on charge number 1, I am finding that you violated the condition of obedience to the law based on your conviction of possession of a controlled substance on 3/7/25. When you were sentenced to unconditional discharge. In addition, the evidence provided by the state that supports the charge is exhibit A, C, and E. On charge number 3, I also finally violated the condition of drugs based on the evidence provided in support of the charge, which is exhibits A, C, E, G, H, I, and L. On charge number 4, I'm also finding that you violated the condition of halfway house placement based on the evidence provided in support of the charge, which just states exhibits A, C, G, and J. So that does conclude the fact-finding portion of today's proceedings. Before I make my recommendation, the state will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. After the state is finished, you'll have the same opportunity. The purpose of this part of the revocation hearing is to help determine what outcome I recommend. So, Officer DeJohn, any additional comments than what has been previously stated about Ms. Fitzgerald's background and history?
No.
Counsel?
Yes, thank you. My client is 32 years old, born and raised in Danbury, Connecticut. Her father, Mr. Fitzgerald, is her primary source of support in addition to her close friend. They both reside in Connecticut. My client has one son, age 13, who resides in Bethel, and they have a strong and positive relationship. Upon release of discretionary parole in May of 2024, my client successfully completed the Silliman House in Hartford in July 2024. Then until late August 2024, she was at the REACH program in New Britain, where she was assigned a case manager. From September to October 24, she completed APP's inpatient program. And then most recently, beginning in December 2024, she was sponsored by her friend Josh at an address in Unionville, where she remained until her remand. Previously, while incarcerated, my client began working toward her recovery coach certification. She took the professionalism course and only has the ethics course remaining in order to get that certification. She utilized the Reentry Welcome Center when she was in the community to get her resume together and fill out job applications. She was full-time a water jet machinist at Pursuit Aerospace in South Windsor, which she obtained prior to her release to the community last time. She was working, I believe, long hours there, sometimes up to 55 hours a week, she reported. Prior to that, my client was scheduled to attend a second interview at Mobile Gas Station in Unionville as well. Since her remand, my client has been doing the Maryland Baker House program, which she voluntarily enrolled in, the substance abuse program, where she reportedly participates in various groups. She signed up for the job center as well. Previously in the community, my client was doing Wheeler Clinic as well, where she had successfully completed a co-courage group and was doing mental health groups at this point. My client would like, upon reinstatement of her discretionary parole supervision, to go back to the sponsor that she was previously at the address in Unionville. She plans to finish the ethics course to become a certified recovery coach, is interested in returning to pursue aerospace, and is open to any sort of treatment recommended, including reestablishing services of Wheeler Clinic, doing 12-step meetings, and utilizing CCAR for support. I am asking you consider releasing my client on the next board review date. In court, she got no time to serve, no additional supervision. This is her first violation. Her parole expires in August. I would argue to have her released prior to that so that she can establish the services in the community with the assistance of parole, have some help getting back on her feet before her supervision is out. She will have been incarcerated for approximately 2 months by the next board review date. So I am asking that any sanction not exceed 2 months. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any final comments before I do make my recommendation? Officer DeJohn?
No.
So I have listened to the testimony today, and I did review all the evidence that has been submitted. Based on that, Ms. Fitzgerald, I am recommending your parole be revoked and that you serve an approximate 5-month period of confinement as a sanction, and that's with no new parole date, as your current end of sentence is August 1st, 2025. In the event the board decides to lessen my recommended sanction, I'm going to do a no consumption of alcoholic beverage. I'm going to recommend the following conditions as well: no consumption of alcoholic beverages, behavioral management program for domestic violence, no contact with co-defendants, PB, KM, TC, JR, and CA, no contact with the victim, KBBF, mental health evaluation. Officer John, would a halfway house placement need to be put in place, or is sponsoring okay? Do it just in case.
Well, here's my thing with Amanda is Amanda does really well in a halfway house. She gets employed, she gets on her feet, and then it seems like when she does go out to sponsors or reach houses, that's when things sort of start to fall apart. So Amanda, I mean, if she has a sponsor, I suppose she can go back to that sponsor. It would be my recommendation to start with a halfway house to get back on your feet, but that's just my recommendation.
So I'll just put it on. It's up to the board. Ultimately, they'll review the documents and paperwork too. We'll just have it on just in case if things fall through the sponsor, if they choose to, whatever they choose to do on the board review date.
Correct. Yep.
So I'll just do it just in case that way it's there as a backup option. So those are my findings and recommendations. They're going to be forwarded to the board on May 15th. And you will receive written notice from the decision of the board shortly after. So on that date, they can do 2 things. They can either adopt my recommendation, or if they do choose to reduce it, they can pick whatever date they want to and choose that as a re-release date. But you'll be notified about a week or so after that May 15th date of their decision.
So, Amanda, if you want to call my office on the 15th or the following date, we can let you know what the board's decision is. Okay.
Okay, can you repeat your recommendations again? I'm sorry.
So
It was like glitching.
her recommendation is that your parole be revoked and you serve the remainder of your sentence incarcerated. So stay in until your EOS date in August.
Okay.
However, the board has the final decision. So if they want to give you less time, they can, or they could, go with her recommendation. So we'll understand, or we'll get an update on what their recommendation is and what their decision is on the 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This does include the revocation for Amanda Fitzgerald, inmate number 373325. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay,
Bye, ladies. Thank you.
bye.
All right, and they made the recommendation to revoke until she gets out, and as far as I know, that's what they kept to. Now her special parole is over, so she's no longer in the system. We probably won't see her again unless she makes the news. And I did a Google search before we did the hearing just to see if she's anywhere around, and no, she's out. But I think this is really, this is just, it's like she had an opportunity. The way that I view it is she was given a gift in prison. You could see where she is without the prison, and prison was there, in terms of giving her the tools to hopefully make a change in her life. And there's just absolutely no way outside, I think, of a miracle that she is going to succeed. And she doesn't want to succeed. She's not ready to. She wants to do her thing. She wants to party, and it's not cute anymore. And she's either going to end up in the morgue or back in prison, in my humble opinion. But this wasn't exactly an intriguing hearing. It's not going to get a lot of views. But what I do think is interesting is that it documents the struggle of addiction. It documents Connecticut's light on crime approach, giving the person who's struggling all of the tools at their behest, all of the options, even the attorneys when they get in trouble, the halfway houses, the parole office, the programs, and that they don't even talk about this, but so many of these parolees, they get food vouchers and free transportation vouchers and all sorts of stuff to help them succeed. But if you want to get out and you're not ready to succeed, you're not gonna. And it's really just disturbing, I think, to see just the waste of taxpayer money and just the lack of appreciation and gratitude. She has no appreciation for everything she's getting. It's like she's a child throwing a tantrum. And yeah, she wasn't throwing a tantrum in the parole room, but you get the drip. You get what I mean. And it's like, it's just, and you gotta, I feel for these parole officers. And they have to come in here. They run around with a bulletproof vest with a gun. No one sings their praises. No one says, let's stand up for the parole officers at the local basketball game, right? They're never mentioned. They're always ignored. And yet they got to not only do their job, herd kittens, which is kind of like but do it with a gun and a vest but they also then have to act like an attorney and go up against a real attorney. And the system that I don't think is looking to actually truly, I feel like the system is just hoping it's looking to, as you can see how many different things she threw away from the initial parole officer. It's like, are you really trying to help this person who's clearly need help, or are you just trying to fluff your numbers? And that's my opinion. I think Connecticut likes to say that, hey, our progressive approach to rehabilitation works better than any other state, and this is why. And it's because they'll say, oh, this person gets small infractions. She had a new conviction. She had a new conviction 2 months ago in court, in her record, while on special parole. And it's like they're still arguing whether or not she should get revoked or not. It's just wild. And I don't know. I can't imagine things work out well for her. I just can't. But thank you, Sir Richard, Lady Holly, and the spreadsheets that make it possible to cover these hearings. Although Sir Richard has been ill, and Lady Holly, as you know, she had a serious, she was hit by a car when she was walking her dog. The last email I got from her almost 2 months ago is that she's in hospital. There's a serious infection from it, and we haven't heard from her since. So was Sir Richard ill? I just, it's been a really tough time for the Mandoo community. Our mods are really going through a lot of difficult things as well. For those of you who are inside the community, you're familiar with it. For those of you who are outside, this might be new to you, but it's been rough. It's been rough. So I appreciate all your support, and we can send thoughts and prayers to everybody in the Mandoo community. And with that, I'll let you go.